Jim Collins, the author of Good to Great, said if you have more than 3 priorities, you have none. That's true on a high scale, but it's also true on a daily scale. If you have more than 3 items on your daily to-do list, then you are more busy than effective. There's a great book on the subject called the 80-20 Principle. This book says that 80% of your results comes from 20% of what you do. If you have 10 items on your to-do list, it means you're not living this principle. Again, 80% of your results comes from 20% of what you do. You need to be able to discern what are the 2 things that are on my to-do list that are going to create 80% of my results, and delete the rest. Automate the rest, delete the rest, delegate the rest. If you have more than 3 items on your to-do list, what that means is that you're busy but not effective, busy but not productive. Ryan Holiday, the author, said that this is the irony of most people's lives. They are frantically moving in a million different directions, but they're not actually getting anywhere. That's the point, is success requires concentration, taking 20 steps in one direction, whereas most people, they're taking 1 step in 20 different directions. If you have 10 items on your to-do list, it means you're going broad in a million different directions. It means you're not going deep in one direction. You're actually better off if you have just 1 item on your to-do list, and that 1 item is super important. It's not urgent. It's not based on the busyness of the day. It's based on your proactive, focused future self. It's something you put deep work into. There's a great book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. Very few people engage in deep, flow-based work. In order to be in flow, you've got to be able to concentrate. You've got to have created an environment. You've put your phone on airplane mode. You're not staring at your notifications. You're actually focused and in flow for 60, 90, 120 minutes, making deep progress towards something meaningful and measurable that's going to make an outcome towards your future self. If you've got 10 items on your to-do list of just checking off this, checking off that, then you're not actually doing deep, flow-based creative work, which is going to make a potent impact on your future self. Instead, you want to be doing tangible projects and outcomes that are working you towards your future self, that make sizable differences in your outcomes and your income and your impact. And so if you have more than 3 items on your to-do list, then you're busy, but you're not productive. Decision fatigue means that your mind is going in too many different directions. Decision fatigue means you've got like 50 tabs open on your computer. You know, on the internet, if you've got like 50 tabs open, well, that's what decision fatigue is on your brain. If you've got 10 items on your to-do list, that's like 10 tabs on your computer screen wearing out your RAM on your brain. Instead, you want to be purposeful. What are the 1 to 3 things that if I accomplish will actually move my life forward toward my future self? You got to actually have a desired future self, and you got to know what are the few things that if I accomplish will make a big difference. And you've got to be willing to say no to all the busyness. Pass it to someone else, delegate it, hire an assistant, or just delete it. A lot of the things really don't matter. They're not going to move the needle. They're not going to move you forward. Instead, only do those things which will truly move you forward. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the former United States president, said that there are things that are urgent and there are things that are important. The urgent things are rarely important, and the important things are rarely urgent. That's the thing, is that the important things are not urgent. They're not urgent because you don't have to do them. You do have to do all of those urgent things, which you put on your to-do list, but those important things are the things that really matter. Those are your dreams. Those are writing that screenplay, or building that business, or going on that trip, having those peak experiences. It doesn't have to just be things you accomplish. They should be things you experience. The 1 to 3 items on your daily to-do list should be tangible experiences or things you actually complete. Completing important projects is how you move your life forward. It's how you actually achieve your dreams. It's how you achieve your goals. There's a crucial quote from Meredith Wilson. She said, if you pile up enough tomorrows, you'll find that you have a lot of empty yesterdays. And if you have a lot of empty yesterdays, you can't have confidence, because confidence is the byproduct of a positive past. Confidence comes from having had many completed projects. This is a crucial book on the subject, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. It's based on the quote from Mark Twain. This is the quote from Mark Twain. He said, if it is your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. This is the whole idea of eating the frog. Eating the frog means you do the worst first, or you do the most important thing first in the morning. The problem for most people is that they've designed their day in a reactive way. Joshua Waitzkin, the author of The Art of Learning, would say most people have a reactive day architecture, meaning they've architected their day to be reactive. They wake up, they start looking at their phone, they got to get to work, they're doing their whole life based on other people's agendas. They're never putting the important things first. They don't have 1 to 3 frogs that they're going to eat. So instead, you want to put the important before the urgent. You want to eat the big frog. The big frog is your future self. It's your goals, it's your dreams. You got to wake up and do that. I did that for years when I was a PhD student. I had a lot of urgent things to do. I had to take those tests. I had 5 classes a day. None of those things made their way on my to-do list because those were things that had to get done anyways. Instead, I put 1 to 3 things on my to-do list. Write that blog post. Had to do it before my 8 a.m. class. Listen to that book. And by doing that for years, I wrote hundreds of blog posts, which enabled me to become a professional author and to create a 7-figure business before finishing my PhD because I ate those frogs first thing in the morning. And I ate the biggest frogs first. And you have to define what's important to you. Again, what's important is rarely ever urgent. You've got to make it urgent by giving yourself a deadline. But if you have more than 3 items on your to-do list, it means that you're too caught up in other people's agendas, or you're too busy going in 1,000 different directions. Your decision fatigue is all out of whack and you're not doing deep work. The more you can spend your time doing important things, in flow, doing deep work, and actually completing powerful projects, not waiting for tomorrow, you'll have a better and better yesterday. Each day you actually accomplish things that matter, you're taking progress towards your future self, towards your desired, envisioned future self. So have no more than 3 items on your to-do list. And I would also say thinking about your big term future, your future self. Let's just say your goals for the next 6 months. Have no more than 3 objectives you're trying to accomplish. There's a great book called Traction by Gino Wickman. It's one of the best books for entrepreneurs. And he found that business owners who have 10 goals usually accomplish nothing over a 6 to 12 month period of time. Whereas if you just reduce it down to 1 to 3 major goals, measurable goals, then you can actually make massive progress. Concentration is how you get into focus and flow. Concentration is how you make progress. Have no more than 1 to 3 goals that you're actually trying to actively accomplish right now. Have no more than 1 to 3 items on your daily to-do list. Actually get better and better at accomplishing important and powerful things on a daily basis so that at the end you don't have a wasted yesterday and you actually did make potent progress towards your future self. And then the more you do this, here's what's going to happen to you. You're going to stop having urgencies in your life altogether. You're going to slow time down. You're going to control it because the more you actually take action on what's important, the more you eat the frog, the more successful you'll be. You'll have actually completed stuff. You'll have actually got stuff out in the world. You'll have actually become a producer, a finisher, a creator, not just a consumer and a reactor, which is what most people are. Instead, you'll have actually created stuff, produced stuff. You'll have tangible work, tangible assets that you've actually created, frogs you've actually eaten over years. And at that point, you can become what Dan Sullivan would call the buyer. You get to set your own terms. You don't have to be the seller where you live your life based on someone else's terms. You get to set your own terms. You get to set your terms on how you spend your time, on how much money you make, on what you do. That's why you should not have more than 3 items on your to-do list. That's why you should have no more than 3 goals that you're actively pursuing at one time. So you can actually concentrate. You can close a lot of those tabs. You can actually engage in deep work. You can have more successful and filled up yesterdays so that you can have a huge and bigger future self. Have no more than 3 items on your to-do list. Ever. Apply the 80% rule. Only do those things that make 80% or bigger difference. Delete or delegate everything else. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Have an amazing day. What are the 3 frogs you're going to knock out tomorrow? Please comment below and tell us your 3 frogs. See ya.